how to navigate the holiday season with grace as an intuitive, empathic person. I'm here to share some of my favorite tips, tools to navigate challenging conversations with Aunt Becky across the table, how to stay connected to your own holiday spirit, staying grounded so that you don't feel electrocuted or your own light doesn't go out. Hi, I'm Sonia. I'm a fourth generation intuitive and I teach people how to plug back into their innate divine GPS, their intuition. So let's talk turkey, because tomorrow's Thanksgiving, this is coming out on Wednesday, about surviving the holidays, thriving during the holidays. Because as we know, the holidays come loaded with a lot of anticipation, energy, expectation, and as intuitive, empathic people, it can be very easy to get electrocuted. And it's been over a year since we have been together and knowing what together is. I know that for me, this is like a whole new re-entry into the world, and that I can feel a little awkward and clunky, which sometimes can make me feel a little anxious or disconnected in my head. So if you're experiencing any of those things, that's normal. So a really good practice that we can start with is by coming back and reconnecting and feeding our own spirit. Speaking of feeding your spirit, if you are brand new, don't forget to hit subscribe. I release new videos every week. If you're a returning viewer, hi, thank you for coming back. I'm so grateful. And actually right now through Monday, if you're watching it this week, I'm doing a really exciting, my first cyber sale where I'm doing my intuitive badass course. Also, I'm doing a free live workshop as part of a bundle, Overcoming Your Most Common Roadblocks to Manifestation, which I'm also super pumped about, on December 12th, and a free guided meditation. These are all really powerful things that you can put in your own toolkit to help you survive with grace. So just want to put that in there. Ding! You can find the links in the bio below. But speaking of which, 77% of Americans feel even more divided and disconnected than over the past few years. So when we come into these family situations, a lot of times as empaths, we can feel the energy. These are the people, because our family, this is our tribe, this is where we come from. And when we navigate the world differently, it can feel really hard to not get into a dogfight. And when we can recognize that the holidays, are times where our inner child comes alive. This is the magic of the holidays. And with that, our inner child is what makes it so special. We think about Coco and movies and connecting and the fun of what the holidays actually mean. But a lot of times our inner child will also have these different healing fantasies. We see on every Hallmark, if you see on any Hallmark movie or any Christmas movie, this is the moment where everybody comes together and then everybody now understands each other and it's perfect. It would be great if life was that easy. But that inner child that can really delight in the holidays can also open us up to expectations of our family or friends and not see them in a grounded, holistic way. I know that I had a client that I did a reading with the other week who has a family who has very different beliefs than she does. Comes from a very conservative family. She's an intuitive, she's empathic, she has a whole spiritual life. And she's saying, I have a lot of anxiety of what I should do. Every time I show up with my family, they end up criticizing me and I don't feel like I can truly be myself. So in looking at that, the first thing that I said was, well, let's first have your own emergency preparedness kit. Before going into any family situation, what are your non-negotiables? Like for me, I need a certain amount of time alone, even if it's 5 to 10 minutes, a walk, that always helps me. And 3, recognizing that I need some room to breathe. So anytime that I've encountered a critical comment or some feedback, or sometimes recognizing that I'm in and around people who don't necessarily have a lot of self-reflection or tools, as intuitive empaths, that means that we can work double, triple, quadruple hard. But and almost that open-heartedness that the holiday season can let those criticisms and barbs come in even more deeply. And we can feel that, people's limitations are a reflection of ourselves, and that we can suffer that disappointment of our little inner child's healing fantasy. But if we can start to have our non-negotiables and start to care for our own spirit, really, one, talking to our inner child, connecting them to our spirit. A tool that I always love is even just bring your inner child into mind and talk to them. Ask them what's one or two things that they need. They might need some time out. They might need some coloring. They might need some fun. They might need a walk. And also reminding them that they don't have to be in charge to connect with either family members or people that are difficult. A lot of times our inner child's enthusiastic self wants to be the one to make these repairs. But anytime that our thinking is in black, white, good, bad, right, wrong, that's your inner child and not your inner adult. So by caring for your inner child, and that means giving yourself quiet times out so you can actually check in, will give you more freedom to respond from a true place instead of reaction. Because that is where we can get into a lot of energetic ping pong. Second of all, of really having the practice of connecting to our own spirit, connecting to the spirit of others. And that means that when we can start to see each other not from role to role and away from story, because a lot of times our ego, a lot of times these really charged times when, Uncle Joe says the one thing that then triggers you into that whole same narrative, ego narrative, blah, 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 but it's always this way, can tell you that it's time to actually start to just take some time to get present. Those stories that can go over and over and over again are our little egos that want to protect ourselves. But when we can see it from our high self, from our spirit, from spirit to spirit, we can actually first have compassion for ourselves and our experience. That sometimes we're in families where we feel like we don't fit, or that this is a challenging time. And the compassion that we can nurture for ourselves with our spirit, we can then extend to other people. And recognize that a lot of times people are hurting. And if they don't have any tools to navigate that pain, it spills out and often can be in little passive aggressive comments, or, just sometimes foot and mouth syndrome, as I like to call it. Doesn't mean that you have to be open to it, but it just means that in being able to connect to their spirit, you can give yourself a little bit more space instead of reacting to their blah, blah, blah. So when we can think about that, you can start to actually first in having compassion to ourselves, and then others, even just say things like, hey, that doesn't feel good. I don't want to talk about that. Changing the subject, asking about something that interests them, whether it's their famous mashed potato recipe or anything else. But when we can start to practice that and cultivate that, it allows us to navigate with grace. And last but not least, don't feel beholden to anything. If you're feeling overwhelmed, I really encourage you to give yourself permission to walk away. I know and have learned that anytime that our heart rate goes up, so let's say like I was talking about with my other client, she was saying, anytime that her mom comes in and criticize her heart rate goes up. It's time where we can connect. As soon as your heart rate goes up, your listening narrows. And we can't actually respond in a way with grace. So if you're feeling that, I always like to, with my family and my partnerships and any of my relationships, I will often say, I need to take a time out, 10, 15 minute time out. This conversation is important to me, and we can come back to it. And with that, it kind of gives me a timeout, them a timeout, a good boundary that we can come back to. And then from there, I can respond how I want. And it can even be, I hear ya, let's change the subject. And last, if you have a really complicated family, the other thing that I would say is center your time around activities. Find good activities, build a gingerbread house, watch a movie, have a fun game, keep it light. As intuitives and empaths, we can a lot of times want to plumb the depths and get into it. But sometimes that, especially if you're with people who don't have a good skill set, that can be a place of where we can just take care of our relationships and finding ways that we can connect that don't subject us to being on the donkey kick of energy or bad vibes. And you know, the more that we can navigate with more and give ourselves more grace, the more that we can have more grace in hard situations. So I hope that this very quick empath survival guide helped you. Give yourself lots of care and attention. Take good care of your inner child. It's your magic. And let them know that they don't have to drive the bus this holiday season. That your spirit has got it, that your higher self has got it, that you're open to support, and that there you can really start to relax. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, I have tons of links below. Don't miss my Intuitive Badass course, my manifestation course, my manifestation workshop, which I'm super excited about. That'll be on December 12th. And my special meditation, which you'll also find. You can get all of those things this week. And if you haven't already, don't forget to sign up for my newsletter. Take my spirit type quiz. I have tons of tools for you. Tell me, do you have a favorite thing to do during the holidays? Tell me in the comments below. Sending you all my love. Bye.